Welcome to Realfire videos. In this video, we're going to go through a feature called export by IDs, which is introduced in version 5.1.1 plus or 5.2 plus, whichever the version that you have. So it's, if you have set of IDs that you want to fetch more details about from a particular connection, it's pretty straightforward. You just specify those IDs as part of the in clause, and you can just go and execute them, and voila, you're going to get the details. However, the problem is when you have a lot of IDs, let's say you have 1,000 of them. So then you can't possibly specify all of them as part of the one in clause because you're going to run into one or the other issues. So the typical issues you're going to come across is called the URL length is actually too long, or the maximum SOCL character length has been exceeded, which is about 20,000 characters. So here in this case, I'm specifying about 500 or 600 IDs, and even then we are not able to execute. So, and if you have, let's say, 10,000 of them whose detail that you want to extract, it can be very tedious, and not to mention the error prone it is to split them up into minimum chunks that it fits going to fit into one execution thing, and combine the results into one file at the later point in time. So that's where the extract by IDs feature comes into the picture very handy. It makes that though querying any number of IDs, any number of records by based on the IDs, no brainer, and it is very seamless. Let's go and create. So we have IDs that we have uh, extracted that has about 10,000 records, 10,000 IDs in this case. So we're going to try to fetch them, the details of those. So let's go and create a new data load, and let's specify this is, so you're gonna specify them, and we're gonna say select star from, okay. So we'll come back to that, the syntax of it. So let's go to the options and specify that input file that contains those 1,000 values. Just make sure that, we'll preview that file and make sure it has IDs as part of that. And we can tell them, max placeholder input values per query. And you can leave it blank, or if you're sure that, we want to specify only so many of them, you can go and execute them. Okay, so let's click here. So here, once you specify that input file, you can refer any of the fields part of your query. So the values will be quoted with a single quote and separated by a comma before injecting into the script. So here we are specifying that, hey, I want the IDs to be injected here with whatever the batch size that it works out. In this case, we are letting the tool to decide what would be the number of IDs it's going to fit depending on the size of the SOCL query that it has to build. So that's all you have to do. So specify the IDs and optionally specify how many placeholder input values that you want to replace or substitute for this particular variable, and specify the variable within this, dollar symbol, open curly brace, the variable name, and then open close curly brace within this, and this will replace. So the tool will take these variables and split them up into a minimum chunk or whatever the chunk that it works out, and it executes this query multiple times and combines the result, and it outputs as a one file at the end of it. So let's go and kick off and run it. It's going to take a time, so I'm going to speed up till it finishes. Here you can see that it is identified as 10,000 records to be fetched, and it is processed 1,000 of them. Okay, so it is completed. Let's go and open the output files and see that it has fetched the details for all 10,000 records based on those IDs. So thank you for listening, and let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.